Hello everybody, welcome back to the Final Fantasy X walkthrough. We are going to start off with, I believe, the Catcher. Yeah, Catcher Chocobo. This is super annoying. And if you've ever spent any time doing this at all, you will know why. It's just a pain in the butt. Basically, some of it's just basically luck. And what I mean by that is there are balloons that are placed randomly throughout the course. And every time you pick up a balloon, it's going to shave 3 seconds off of your time. Sometimes at the very beginning, you'll get, like, we'll just say, you know, anywhere from 4 to 5 balloons that'll spawn in a good location for you. Now, that being said, you can get 4 to 5 that'll spawn right off the bat, and they'll put them on the trainer side. And that's just going to be almost impossible for you to get. And then on top of that, you've got these annoying birds dive bombing you. And sometimes, like around that last corner, it's just really hard to avoid them. And, you know, otherwise they'll stick them right here at the end, and they'll just bomb you as you're about to hit the finish line. And basically, what you have to do is obviously try to avoid the birds while simultaneously getting as many balloons as you can. Now here, I technically beat the trainer, but my time is 19.7. If you want Titus's best weapon, the Calad-Bold or whatever, you need to get a time of 0 seconds flat. So yeah, good luck. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I believe you just have to win for the Calad-Bold. And I think his sigil is for the 0 seconds flat. Yeah, that's how it goes. But basically, anytime you actually just beat the trainer, you'll see this little guy standing there. And basically, if you interact with him, he'll say something like, "Oh, I can't believe you beat whatever, the trainer, she's so fast," or "she must be having an off day," or blah blah blah, whatever. Anyways, that guy is guarding this little entrance down here, so he doesn't move unless you beat him. So that's really all you need to know to actually obtain the Calad-Bold. Now, unfortunately, like I was saying earlier, the crummy part is, in order to get the sigil, which powers up the Calad-Bold, you need to actually get a perfect time on the course.
Let's go.
I have mixed results. Sometimes I get really lucky, sometimes I don't. I vaguely remember the last time I did a playthrough like this. It took me something like 2 hours. Now, I was probably a little tired, and I don't know if I was playing to my
Let's get him, guys!
I don't know if I was playing my best or if I was in my best form. But this time, I believe it only took me about a half an hour. So, I don't know. You can probably do a full round in a minute or less. So, I mean, I don't know. Well, maybe it takes a little bit longer than that. But anyways, be prepared if you really want to get that 0 second. Or if you want to hit that 0 second mark, just be prepared. It can be kind of a pain. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the Celestial Mirror right now, which you're not going to have because, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know exactly when it is that you can just ride her on the Chocobo. So I guess technically, maybe the first time you beat her for the catcher, maybe you can get that. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure which I guess course you need to beat in order to just ride around freely on the Chocobo. I don't know if it's the very first one or if you have to go do all 4. I'm not sure. But anyways, we'll come back to that later. I do have some footage of me actually getting the 0 second, but for right now, I am going to stop in here at the monster. I guess this is just called the arena. And this guy here, basically, you can't do anything here until you capture enemies. So he's going to have some weapons here that we can buy. I always buy a weapon for Titus, Orin, and Waka. The reason being is I think Titus is always a good option because he can hit basically everything. Same with Waka. The only thing that really stands out to me that kind of stinks though is when you do this, and I guess there's just really no way around it, but you'll end up trying to capture things like Flan, sorry, the ones that have a lot of armor. And that's kind of the reason why I pick Orin as my third one. And on his weapon now, the kind of crummy thing about these weapons is they only have 2 slots. And then on top of that, one of the slots is taken up by the catch, or whatever, catcher, I forget what they actually call it. So you really only have 1 slot to work with. And what I like to do for these is, and I felt like it turned out pretty well. I like to put piercing on Orin's because he's typically the guy that that you always use for that. Yeah, there you go. So there's the Beastmaster. I put piercing on it. So I kind of just leave him that's always kind of been his role. So I just leave it like that. Now, this is the first time I've ever put First Strike on a taming weapon, and I really liked it. I liked it a lot. And then I put Initiative on Waka's. I'm not sure if I would have had more benefit out of putting a First Strike on his as well. I believe when you have 2 characters with First Strike, they both get turns first, even on an ambush. At least that's my understanding. I could be wrong there, but I put Initiative in that, that helps get preemptive strikes, but I don't know. In all honesty, it didn't really feel like that made that much of a difference. So I'm conflicted on that one. I would stick with piercing though. You're going to want to have that on, I think, at least 1 weapon. I just felt like that really helped. That way you don't need to armor break every single little enemy in your path. And alright, so anyway, there are, I believe, only those 2 treasure chests on the entirety of the map, which is kind of funny, being seeing how big this area is. But we're gonna run over here to this feather on the ground, and this is treated the same way as the feathers on the Mihen High Road, in that you stand over the feather and press the action button, and it'll kind of fly over to this, I don't know if you can call it hidden area. I guess it's kind of hidden, right? But this is the path that leads to the Remium Temple, and there's a couple of very important items here. Number 1 is the Cloudy Mirror. The Cloudy Mirror will later power up to the Celestial Mirror, and the Celestial Mirror is what we need to power up our weapons. Now, that being said, I don't remember if you actually have to have the Celestial Mirror in order to open the chests that contain the character's best weapons. I don't remember. I don't know if you can get away with just the Cloudy Mirror. So we'll see. We'll see if I just go ahead and power it up right away. I guess when it comes right down to it, you don't have to travel very far to power it up, so you kind of might as well. But we'll see. We'll see what I ended up doing. Over here is a chocobo that we will use to obtain the Cloudy Mirror, but you have to go to the left side first. Yeah, he won't do anything for you until you go to the left side. And the little mini game that's coming up, I guess I would call it. There are a bunch of different prizes, and I've got footage of what the best prizes are. So maybe I'll cut that into this video. I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I guess just know that it I didn't actually finish the race and get the good prizes on my first trip here. I waited until much later. I was basically at the end of the game to actually get these prizes. Reason being, I just, you know, again, I've I've brought it up a few times, but I really like to customize my gear at the more at the end of the game, because you have more access to basically better gear to start with, I suppose. And what I mean by that is it's just it's more likely that you'll get items with 4 slots or more at the end of the game, or I should say the East. No, let me back up. You cannot get equipment with 4 slots until the end of the game. It only drops in certain places. On top of that, there is another way to obtain it, and that's actually by buying it from Wants, which is, but that again. Now that's going to be coming up in a long time. Here for the initial win, I didn't bother collecting any of the chests, and I didn't care about hitting the poles. I literally just wanted to get down here to the bottom. Alright, so there it is. There is the Cloudy Mirror. Alright, and it explains that the power's been lost, but there may be a way to restore it. Alright. While we're here, we may as well head on into the temple. And you know, now that I think about it, for continuity purposes, I don't think I'm going to splice in that footage of the of winning that the race down there. I'll just toss that in whenever I actually did it. I think that makes sense.
Welcome, Yuna.
What is this place?
Remium Temple. Once a great religious center in the Calm Lands, lost after the battle with Sin.
And this is your home? What? You got something against company?
It's a long story. Easier perhaps to show you.
You're dead too.
Don't send me just yet. There is still one thing left for me to do here. With the help I can give, a young summoner might just be able to defeat Sin. Well, Yuna, I challenge you. If you cannot beat me, you'll never beat Sin. Very well. Before we begin, now, are you ready?
Alright, so there you go. Once again, we've got another example of an unsent. I think it's actually a cool, I guess a cool aspect to the game where you've got people that have, you know, essentially wills so strong that death doesn't even really like hold them back, I guess. I don't know how to say that in a better way, but obviously they, like Belgamine or Belgamine, I don't know how you say her name, but she you know, essentially wants to stick around to train summoners, which I think is pretty cool. Another pretty cool aspect of the story. Wow, Shiva's really not doing much damage right now. I guess I'm used to, you know, again, I'm basically at the end of the game, so now my Aeons are destroying everything in sight. We gotta start somewhere, right? Boom! Ah, right. So, I guess now that we're here, I could talk a little bit about an item that Belgamina is going to give us. And I believe it's the Aeon Soul? I think that's the name of this one. We're going to find out in a second here, but basically what it lets you do is customize your Aeon stats to a certain extent. And when I say that, I mean, obviously all of your Aeons, and we've been over this a couple of times, but the Aeon stats are based off of units. So anytime you raise unit stats, the Aeon stats will raise as well. Now, that being said, though, you can further add to your Aeon stats by using this Aeon Soul.
Stop. That is enough.
That is enough. At the end of the game, or when Yuna's stats hit 255, I believe your Aeon stats cap out as well. So, that being said, if you plan on, hitting 255 with your Aeons, there it is, the Aeon Soul. So if you plan on, really going to town on your Aeons, eventually, I believe, again, this is almost unverified because I don't remember for sure, but I'm fairly certain that your Aeon stats cap out at 255 as well. So, again, what that means is once Yuna's stats finally hit 255 on the sphere grid, the Aeon stats will as well. So, basically, you can use your mana spheres, power spheres, speed spheres, so on and so forth, to boost up your Aeon stats. But at the end of the game, they should all end up washing out. Other than, actually, yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that statement basically sums it all up. Now, I guess I would say that you could maybe argue that it would be useful to add health, because Aeon's health, won't cap out until 99,999. That being said, again, back to the whole sphere grid and Yuna spiel. If you can cap out Yuna's health, well, that would mean that your Aeon's health would cap out as well. So, here's the thing. So, boy, that ends up being such a wordy explanation. But when it comes right down to it, I would say, here's the deal. Obviously, I have a ton of extra power, power, speed, mana, spheres. So, that being said, instead of just leaving them to rot in my inventory, you can get a semi-temporary boost to your Aeon stats. When I say temporary, I don't mean that you're going to lose them. I just mean that eventually they would wash out anyway. But, again, if you've got the extra spheres, you may as well use them for something instead of, because once you hit 99 of a sphere, there's no way to get more. And any extra ones that you would obtain through battle would essentially just be lost. Alright, being that I've got some snazzy items, I decided to use them on my Aeons. Specifically, it looks like Shiva. The cool thing about Shiva, just like Ifrit, is you can cast her own element on herself to heal her, which is one of the reasons why I prefer her. Now, that being said, though, you can teach her Aeon's Cure as well. So somebody like Bahamut, who doesn't have an element in Valefor, can still heal themselves. I just found it really nice to use someone like Shiva because she's already got her Blizzara spell learned. And Blizzara basically heals her to full. That may not always be the case, depending on
Choose your Aeon well, son.
if I was to stick a bunch of extra health on her, or if she didn't have enough magic to back it up, but it works out fairly well. Alright, who's summoning? Oh, looks like Shiva again. Basically, all these fights play out the same way to a certain extent. Once I actually get to the part where Belgemine summons Shiva, I won't be able to use Shiva myself, obviously, but that's not too big a deal since we've got Bahamut to back us up. Haste. Haste is huge. Haste is awesome, not only for your regular characters, but your Aeons as well. Obviously, any time where you can get, you know, multiple turns in a row, it's going to be a good thing. And I believe, so you can teach your Aeons Cheer and, what are the other ones? Reflex, Aim, and Focus, I believe it is. I think it's the 4. And those are useful as well, but I would say more for if your Yuna isn't as powerful, maybe. I would say that in all the fights that I ever used my Aeons for, I really only used one of those skills. Well, I should take that back. It's not that I've only used it once or twice. I do use one skill quite a bit, but again, it's because Yuna is actually,
it may come in handy.
I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say underleveled, but her stats aren't stellar, or weren't stellar at the time. So, long story short, you can use those abilities and teach those abilities to your Aeons. It's just, I don't feel like they're that useful. Life and full life, as far as I know, those are completely worthless on Aeons. Because you're never fighting with anybody else. So I'm not really sure why you even have the option to teach your Aeons that. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Biodemai Drain. Yeah, I don't know. There wasn't anything else in that list that was that great. I was trying to check on what items Belgemine gives after these battles because I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to have like 99 of something and then have her give me a bunch more and essentially waste them all. So that's why you'll kind of see me go into my inventory and check on what items I have or what I've obtained. Alright, who do we have next? I think the next fight should be Ixion.
I will be the judge of your Aeon strength. Are you good enough, I wonder?
Are you good enough, I wonder? Well, I think I'm pretty good. I mean, people tell me I'm good. Maybe they're just being nice. Alright. I'm not sure what I was doing here, but it looks like we got a little bit of lag time. A little bit of a delay before we start in on our next fight. After you beat all these Aeons, you can actually face them again, but I didn't feel like the rewards are worth, you know, fighting again, in all honesty. They just, I don't know, they're kind of blah.
Now, our...
And you can look those up if you really want. You know, again, I just didn't really feel like they were good enough to merit doing these fights again. So, you know, if that's something that you want or that you're interested in, I would suggest looking it up or just doing it. You know, I guess probably if you're here, you may as well just give it a shot, fight him again if you really want. But again, I didn't really feel like the rewards were worth fighting again. She doesn't give you, yeah, maybe I should have said this right off the bat, but she doesn't give you the same rewards after you've already obtained them once. She'll give you a different set. It's a lot like every other mini game in the game. And that's that. Normally, the first time you obtain a prize, you know, the prize is pretty good, and then subsequent times it just doesn't end up being nearly as good. So, obviously, start out with haste. You know, once again, if you've got it or if you've got an Aeon that has it, that haste is obviously taught using chocobo feathers, and chocobo feathers can be stolen from cactars. Either the Thunder Plains cactars or the, and here Shiva actually gets killed because I wasn't paying attention. I remember I was doing something else and I wasn't paying attention to Shiva's health. Whoops, womp womp. So I think I end up finishing this out with Bahamut. Which, I think this is silly. I don't even know why she lets you summon another Aeon. That should have just been a loss. Like, eh, well, better luck next time. Start over. But, whatever. Okay. Anyways. Boy, I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, cactars. Yeah, so you can, like I said, you can steal those cactar feather, or sorry, chocobo feathers from the cactars either in the Beaconel Desert, which is actually impossible to get back to now. Or I should say for a while, until we get the airship again. And then Thunder Plains is the second part. So, you know, like,
I'm glad.
I don't know if I'd say if you're having problems with this, you could walk all the way back. I mean, you could. Although, you know, now that I think about it, it's not that far of a walk. All you'd have to do is go through, you can actually take the shortcut through Macalania Woods, because there's a shortcut now where you actually don't have to fight any enemies, which is pretty darn nice. And then you're basically there. So, you know, if that's something that you feel like you really need right now, go right ahead. But otherwise, you know, I wouldn't stress it too much. Kiraga, I guess I would suggest teaching to Bahamut. Again, like he's pretty beefy right now. Haste as well. He's pretty beefy, and he's actually really useful.
If you've got
especially actually for these fights. In all honesty, I probably could have just used him for this, and I would have done. I don't know if I would say even. Yeah, probably better. He's got a lot better stats right now than Shiva does. So, in all honesty, he would have been a better choice to use than Shiva. But c'est la vie. I'm a fan of Shiva, obviously. Boy, I really was kicking around the idea of teaching him Kira, or Kiraga.
Well,
I feel like it's worth it.
Shall we see how?
It's not a bad skill. I mean, it's the best cure spell in the game.
Now, are you?
And especially for Aeons, that is. You know, unfortunately, unfortunately, you can't use multiple Aeons in the same fight. That would be, God, that would be so OP. But you know, so there's not you don't have other options of healing each other and whatnot. It's all they have is just a massive health pool. So you know, once that gets cut down, then there's not much else you can do. I assume I'm going to cast Haste right off the bat. That makes sense. Yeah, excuse me. Alrighty, let's go to town. Oh, miss? Seriously? Wow. I think I might actually miss again. I think, yep, there's the second miss. I think at that point I was like, okay, that's enough of that. So Impulse from here on out. I don't know. I don't ever remember Shiva being, you know, very agile, but apparently she is. And Impulse killed her. So that's the end of that.
Stop.
Stop.
That is enough.
That is enough. Okay.
Ah, you have made some progress. And for that, I'm glad. Take this. It may come in handy.
Alright, what do we got here? 60 Mega Potions. That's a lot of Mega Potions.
I will be the judge of your Aeon strength. Are you good enough, I wonder?
Alright. I didn't even say. I was like,
Very
whatever.
well. Before we begin,
I think at that point I didn't even care if I was,
are you ready?
you know, if I had too many items. Alright, here he is. The big man himself. The only thing that you really have to worry about Bahamut is every 5th turn, I believe, he'll use Mega Flare. I believe essentially this Bahamut is the same as...
Choose your Aeon well, son.
Was it Isaru's? Yeah, I think we had to fight Isaru's Bahamut. And I would think that this one's a little beefier, like just has more health. Yeah, well, I shouldn't say maybe just more health, probably more health and more actual damage as well. But I believe the same strategy applies. You just smack him until, and I think I think that's actually a counter attack. Yeah, it looks like can he counter? I think he can counter every physical. Let's see here. Let's see if I use something else. And there's the countdown. So every time he actually takes a turn, that's when his countdown actually ticks. And then, like I said, it's looking like he... Oh, let's see if he counters that. Yep, okay. So, I don't know if you can maybe cast Blizzard and stuff on him, and maybe he won't counter that. You know, I don't know if Heavenly Strike is actually countered or treated as a physical. Well, no, he's... Okay, now I'm really confused because he's casting Impulse. That's just weird. I don't know. Maybe he can counter with Impulse too. I guess I don't really know how his, or what his, combat parameters are. Hopefully this Diamond Dust will take him out, though. He's already slumped over. Nope. He's got a little more in him. Alright. Clunk. Wow. He's got a lot of health. Took another 6k to the face. And he still lived. That should do it. There we go. Alright. That's the end of that. Alright, I'm going to cut the commentary here, though. So, like, comment, subscribe, whatever you guys want to do. Hope these guides are helpful, though.
Stop.
And hope you join me for more. Alright, thanks for watching.
Ah, you have made some progress. Take this. It may come in handy.